Okay, skill number 5. You need to know that in GameMaker, the game works in units called steps, and by default there are 30 steps in every second. So in each step, every object in the room is checked by the computer and it completes any actions that are required. The step events are very useful and it occurs each time a step occurs. This means that you can update something 30 times a second. The step event has 3 variations. One occurs at the start of each step, one occurs at the end of each step, and the other occurs normally just during the step. Skill 5 is a task that where we'll see how we can make an object follow another object but not touch it. We'll use skill 3 as our starting point, so let's just open that up. That should be on the recent files list, and there we are. And remember, skill 3, we've got some sprites and shooting a bullet. We won't be using the bullet, but we'll just leave it there for the time being. Now I want some sort of an object to follow my Pac-Man, so I'll just start by creating a new object and loading a sprite for that. And I think I've got something that looks a bit like a ghost here, which I'll use. Don't forget, remove background if that hasn't been checked already. This will be obj ghost, and we'll OK that. And then I'm going to need an object for the ghost. So this will be obj ghost, and we'll add the ghost sprite to that object. Oh, I've named that incorrectly. Just one thing you'll notice here, when if you do make a mistake, you see that I've got object ghost there as a sprite. If I go back to my object and correct that, spr ghost, okay, you'll see that that automatically updates the name of the sprite there in the drop down. So it's spr ghost. Okay, let's go to the room. We have just got our Pac-Man object in the room at the moment, and what we're going to do is we're going to place a ghost in the room, put him up there, out of the way for the time being, and what we want the ghost to do is to follow the Pac-Man around. We don't want him to touch him, but we will want him to follow him. So we need to use the step event on the ghost. So we're going to add an event here. You can see that there's a step event, and as I mentioned earlier, there is begin step, step, and end step. Begin step is before each step is taken in the game. Step will be any time during the step, and the end step is after all other steps or all other objects have moved or been updated within the step that we're on at the moment, and it happens at the end. So let's use the end step, and what we're going to do is we're going to step avoiding, and where are we going to step to? So we want to step to wherever our Pac-Man is in the room. So remembering from the previous skills, if we want to know where Pac-Man is in the game, we can use his coordinates, and that will be obj Pac-Man.x. It will be obj Pac-Man.y. The Pac-Man we can move at 4. Let's just take him a little step slower so that he can the Pac-Man can get away, because the Pac-Man can move at speed 4. If the ghost can only move at 3, it means that the Pac-Man should be able to get away from him. We'll say avoid solid only. We'll just leave that as it is and say OK. So when the game starts, we have those steps of the game ticking along every 30th of a second. There's 30 in the second. And at the end of each one of those steps, our ghost is going to step towards our Pac-Man, and the position of the Pac-Man is, of course, the X and Y coordinate of the Pac-Man. That just about does it. I'll just check OK on that, and I do need to do one thing to my Pac-Man. No, I don't. He's ready to go there. Okay, so we've got the object in the room, we've got our Pac-Man. Let's run the game and see how we go. Oh, before we do, let's file, save as, Skill5, because this is a new skill. Save that. Right, now let's run it. So you can see the ghost has already started moving, and if the Pac-Man can run him away, he'll do that. And the ghost, because he's going just that 1 unit of speed slower, won't be able to catch up. But look what happens when he does. He actually stops right on top of the Pac-Man. Now that wasn't quite what we wanted, and I'll show you what I mean by that. We actually wanted the ghost to get to the Pac-Man but not touch him. So what do we need to do to get that working? Look at the ghost again and look at the step toward. And down here it says avoid solid only. Now the Pac-Man isn't solid, so the ghost isn't going to avoid the Pac-Man. He's actually going to move to wherever his X and Y is, which is in fact right on top of him. So how do we stop him actually running over the top of the Pac-Man? Well, the clue lies in avoiding solid. So let's open up our Pac-Man, and you'll see that the Pac-Man isn't solid. And that's the default setting of the Pac-Man. But if we check solid, OK that, and then run our game again, the ghost heads off in pursuit. We'll try and move away, but then if we do let him catch up, you'll see that he'll just try and touch us, but that means he'll just run around the outside. Doesn't actually collide with the Pac-Man, but gets to him but can't get any closer. How would you be able to use that in a game? If you had a wall that was solid, you could hide behind a wall, and the ghost would have to move around the wall rather than just move through it to catch you. So we can head off again, and the ghost will follow and eventually catch up. So that's skill 5. I'll leave you to experiment with that by adding some walls that the Pac-Man can hide behind, and you'll see what happens there. Don't forget, make sure you save your game when you finish the skill, and that was skill 5.